So this is our final coaching call. Yeah. So this is our final coaching call for the whole for this cohort. I see your messages. You guys don't want it to end, and we're still with you. Don't worry for the next 2 weeks or a little bit more. And I'm so excited about the topic that we have today. And we have a very capable hand that's going to actually be addressing us at this meeting. And so I'll just go over our rules because I had this meeting open to not just those in the boot camp, but I allowed others come on board as well. So I'll just go over our rules. So when the speaker is speaking, use the chat box to drop in your messages or your questions, or if there's anything you want to say, you don't interrupt and you remain muted all through um, the the webinar until you're asked to speak. So if you want to speak, you raise up your hand, and if you're permitted to, you can. Or if the speaker asks a question and say, okay, you can speak, please go ahead and speak. Mr. Joel is a very resourceful person. I met him not one-on-one, but in a group sometime in 2019. Yes, through the AGS tribe, and I have followed him side on ever since then. And I remember when I spoke to Ife on my journey to tech and all of those things, I wasn't clear about a lot of things at that time. And she said, okay, you met Joel at so place, right? I said, yes. She said, okay, I'm going to connect both of you together. I think he would help you, give you a good part on how to navigate through. But unfortunately, she wasn't able to really make that connection at that time. And I just kept trying to figure things out by myself. And so when we're looking for resource persons for this, the team and I was like, this is the person I want to speak here. I want to speak here. I don't know how I'm going to reach out to him, but I really want him to speak here, and I don't know how to get his number and all of that. And I would just encourage to just send him a message, just try. People like that can be quite busy, and you might think you might not be able to access them and all. Just try to reach out. I'd also taken a course with them, and I was so excited that when I reached out, he responded and he said, of course. And I'm so grateful, sir. I'm really, really grateful. Mr. Joel is the co-founder and director of partnerships and sustainability at Tech for Dev. Now, I think I've mentioned Tech for Dev a bit to you guys that if you're looking at going into deeper technology skills, software development, and the rest, that is a very good place for you to thrive as a woman. And generally, I think it's fantastic, and they have a very robust support system. And I've told you guys, I encourage you to apply for their courses whenever they're released. And so I'm excited he's here with us tonight. I don't want to take so much time because I have 1 hour, and I also want to learn. I want us to actually get as much as we can from him. So tonight he's going to be speaking to us on technology and your future as a woman. We've looked at mindset, mind reset, and goal setting from the beginning. We've looked at starting from scratch, you not having a technology background and feeling, is this not too hard? Where do I start from? And we looked at that area. We also looked at going global with digital skills last week, and it was very fantastic, right? Back to back, mind blowing. So today we're going to be looking at technology and your future as a woman. So you have the floor, Mr. Joel. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much, Excellence, for inviting me once again, and good evening, everyone. It's an absolute pleasure to be connected with everyone. I mean, even though I can't see most people's faces, I think that it's ultimately exciting to be connected to a lot of young people who are looking to start to build a career, or who started but want to grow their career in technology. My name once again is Joel Ogunsola, and I currently serve, well, amongst some of the couple of things I do, primarily, I work with Tech for Dev. Tech for Dev is a non-profit, and our work is focused around ensuring that young Africans are able to get access to decent work and entrepreneurship opportunities using digital skills as that bedrock and as that foundation. And our program cuts across basic, intermediate, and advanced programs. But today, I'm excited that I'm able to have a conversation and a chat with people around women in tech. I like to say that I'm an E for she. It's a popular term that is used for men supporting women in technology. And my journey into this aspect, was very it wasn't quite coincidental. After I left Microsoft in 2015, myself and my friends set up a technology company which is called Pronedge. We build enterprise solutions for a large number of organizations. And just like any other company today, and I'm one of the things I'm going to talk about, talent is hard to find. And when I say talent here, okay, someone said they can barely hear me. How many people, mic check, how many people can hear me? It would be nice just to know. Let me try to use my earpiece to see if it would get better. So is it better now? Um,
Yes, it is.
Okay, all right. Thank you very much. And sorry about that. At that point, we needed to look for, and this, I'm going to try and make it as much as conversational and share a lot of personal examples, just to help us understand the significance of we being women, or, you guys being women, within technology ecosystem. And what you then realized was the fact that we didn't have engineers. And so we started to look for people here and there. It was a bit challenging, but eventually we did find some people. But what we then quickly realized was that there was a lot of, when it comes to output, and this goes to you women, big ups to you guys. When it comes to output and dedication to work, our female engineers were just a lot damn better than the male engineers. The results, the attention to detail, was excellent. Coincidentally, at the same time, a friend of mine, who founded, they're called ACLT Initiative. They got a grant from the American Embassy, and the request was to build something for women. That was far back in 2015. And I said, you know what? There's a lot of interest in women, and I started to dig more into the details. And you find out that best case scenario, we're probably in places like Lagos, Abuja. When you look at the technology ecosystem, and technology now, not from a startup angle, when you look at all the way to telecommunications organizations, all that way in the technical roles there, you have at best two women to eight other men, 2:8. So, a lot needs to be done. And when you look at it from a development angle, when you look at who contributes the most to the society, when it comes to, growing our gross domestic product and number of, and the economy as a whole, you find out that women, it's been proven that women contribute 3 times more to the society than men. And so that was a light bulb moment for us. And then we started the pilot. We created Code for Impact program. We worked with 70 girls um, from Unilag and Lautech at the time. And then eventually we've then scaled the program. Now we're doing, working with 5 million women across Africa over the next 10 years. And so for us, one thing we've learned very significantly is the fact that when women do go into technology, when as a woman you do decide to pick up a technology role in an organization, we've seen that the level of dedication and the level of resilience and productivity is exceptionally high. And so I'd say that, I consider it, very exciting to know that this amount of women, this many people here on the call today, are choosing a career in technology, and that you've all chosen to, to go down that path. And, it's extremely exciting. And I look forward to being able to, work with a number of you now in the near future across a number of, roles, either in our organization or externally. When you think about being in technology as a woman, I'd say that there are a number of barriers, um, and I'll talk about the challenges, and then we go talk about the opportunities, and we talk about, how do you go forward from here? And for us, from where we stand, one is the fact that primarily, from the very beginning, which is, deciding whether to go into science class or commercial or art class, you find out that there's very little participation when it comes to women in STEM, and that's because we've realized, and we could be, it could be wrong. It's still an evolving conversation, that there is a stereotype around, having men being in STEM versus women being in STEM. And so that's one primary challenge. So when you look at our culture,
generally, there's that challenge where stereotypically men are encouraged to be in technology than women. That's one. Two would also be the fact that because of the uniqueness around women, primarily in the very past, coding, engineering, all these technical skills have been seen more to be, masculine in nature. Even though, you would all agree with me that it doesn't require any extra strength. It's really just a function of your mental capability. And those are primary challenges. And also because when the way, life is designed by nature, I remember that, for our very first set of female employees, we also had that challenge where, when they got married. So we started out our business in Akure, and at the point where, people started to grow and wanted to have a family, you then marry somebody who's based in Lagos or based in Kaduna, for example, and you'd have to leave. 2015, remote work was not very popular. And so back then it was a struggle. And I think that up until now, fundamentally, a lot of organizations have also struggled with because it's about sustainability. So you're working on a major project that is taking 2 years, and you don't want your lead or senior engineer to leave right in the middle of the project. And so people will say, you know what, I'd rather get a guy than get a woman because I'm not sure she's going to leave. But we've then realized that when you don't agree with me that those are all, and I think COVID of all things made it, brought the message home. People can work from anywhere at any point in time, regardless of their demography, age, sex, gender. During COVID, I had a lot of colleagues join the organization. I didn't even know whether they were male or female. I just knew I had a particular colleague join the team. And so we realized that a lot of those stereotypes and barriers to entry for women are starting to be reduced. And also over the last 2 to 3 years, we've had a lot more programs that are very intentionally focused on bridging that gap, at least creating some form of 50-50 balance when it comes to the technology ecosystem. On the other hand, the benefits that exist today, I think are benefits that are not necessarily gender based. When I think about the work we do and why we've chosen, to focus on digital skills enablement for young people in Africa, is because when you look at the return on investment, so typically what you need would be a device, internet connectivity, and information, either in terms of physical programs that are taking place or online learning programs, that are able to help you build, your competence and capacity from a technology standpoint. Once you have all those three things, primarily you can start a journey in technology as a woman or as a guy. In this case, as a woman. And the internet has made everything a lot easier. You can learn virtually, you can learn from home. I, however, think that one of the other critical components, to then completing, which, I'm excited that you guys are part of this program, this, bootcamp program and this whole mentorship program, is, getting access to the right mentors. Now, because you also have very few men, or women rather, within the technology ecosystem at very senior levels, locally in Nigeria and even across that, and even globally. You find out that there's a shortage of mentors just, for the sheer size of women that want to start a career in technology or are looking to start a career in technology. And so there's a lot of need to ramp up that aspect. But however, when I think about growing a success, because it's all about, succeeding within the technology ecosystem, when I look at it from a employer standpoint, and I think about what are those components that are critical to ensuring success, I'd say the very first thing would be to, for you to decide on a focus area. So I've seen a lot of people want to become everything. So people will go learn data science, come back, learn software development, then they'll go and spend another 3 months learning cybersecurity. I think the very first thing you want to do is to decide on what that area of focus would be when it comes to technology. And there are a lot of, maybe not a lot, but there are very few psychometric testing platforms as well as, other, avenues where you can actually decide what's the very best. Sorry, I lost electricity here. I guess it's a Nigerian problem, but I hope you can still hear me. You need to be able to decide on which of these technology pathways do I want to go with. Because I can argue and say that almost every technology pathway is profitable and has very quick career progression if you have the right growth rate, mentorship, support, and learning opportunities. So the first thing is to decide, what do I want to go do? Do I want to be a front-end engineer? Do I want to be back-end? Do I want to be a user experience designer? Do I want to be a product manager? Do I want to be a cybersecurity engineer? Once you decide on what you want to do, then the next thing is to build competence around that. Which is either through physical learning, boot camps, virtual learning. I would argue and say that for you to become at least an entry level expert, I use the word expert at any of these skills points, you probably need to spend about between 6 to 9 months, and that's combination of learning as well as possibly interning, which is going to give you hands-on experience. And I'd recommend that you take post learning, you take internships very seriously, because over time it's proven to, one, help you gain very important hands-on experience, help you also understand how to work in a corporate environment, understand the reality of the industry, and also help you make a decision as to, I want to work in this type of organization, I don't want to work in this type of organization, I want to work in a bank within their IT unit, or I want to work in a startup like a Paystack or a fintech, that is a more agile, dynamic, environment where you can easily come into work. You can work remotely, it's a lot more flexible. Or I even want to work remotely for a US company and be in Nigeria. I want to be a freelancer. I want to be on Upworks, to freelance. That internship opportunity helps you really crystallize your thoughts and make your decisions around what your eventual career pathway or trajectory would be, or what organization you want to work with. And I would say for a fact that once you have gained that competence, once you've learned the skill, you're competent in it, getting job opportunities, it might take a while to get the right and ideal opportunity you're looking for. But ultimately, because there is a shortage of talent in the market, ultimately, there would always be job opportunities, either locally or externally, for people who have the right competence. So post getting the right internship and experiential learning, practical learning opportunity, you then want to move on to getting the right mentor. And I'd say mentor, sometimes I like to say sponsor, because I realize that there's a big, difference between a mentor and a sponsor. Not everyone will be lucky to have a sponsor, but if you please find one. And the difference for me, when I think about it, would be that mentors are going to tell you, oh, Joel, do A, B, C, D. If you do A, B, C, D, you get X, Y, Z. Sponsors would say, do A, B, C, D. After you do A, B, C, D, let me know. I would help you get X, Y, Z. They would practically help you schedule your very first interviews. And a lot of mentors, especially women, are also open to help other women grow. So you want to be able to definitely get yourself a mentor, or if you're lucky, get yourself a sponsor who's able to help you accelerate your growth. But the very fundamental thing is to build that, is to understand and determine what aspect of technology you want to go into, build competence around that technology area. So when they say, come for an assessment, you're definitely going to scale the assessment, process. And the next thing is get an opportunity for practical learning experience. You would always get a lot of value all through your career from ensuring that you get that initial. So don't be in a hurry to go and get a job, or an internship is a job. In most cases, it's a paid opportunity. I'm not saying free. Some organizations might not be able to pay, but a lot of organizations are happy to pay these days for value, as long as you're able to bring some value on board. Because remember, you've already learned something and you already have a skill set. You're just intending to be able to refine that skill set that you already have, essentially. But don't be in a hurry to go for a full-time role, or get an internship. That internship will help you build more experience, build a lot of soft skills in terms of communication, working with other members of your team, and at the same time also build a portfolio of work, which is mostly important, because when you go for interviews, it's not about what degrees or certifications you have. Most times it's about, can you get this done? Have you done this before? What's the evidence that you've done it before? Can you share a reference of an employer who's willing to refer you? I get a lot of requests for references. Some I do for my friends, even though they're starting their careers, they're like, oh, I'm going to use as a reference. I'm like, oh, yes, definitely. I can refer them. But a lot of times employers want to know what you worked on in the past, want to get a lot more detailed. What kind of project did they work on? This person said they worked on this. Can you validate that they did work on that? And so getting internship opportunities to gain experience is one. And then next thing definitely is then getting a mentor. It's always, always important. And the mentor does not need to be local. Also, there are a lot of platforms. I know there's ADP, there's a number of platforms that provide access to global mentors where you can schedule some meeting on someone's time. That would help you. It will help to fast track your journey when it comes to tech. They will be able to tell you, oh, avoid this organization, oh, avoid this place, oh, avoid this, learn this next, oh, and help you to draw a proper, learning and development plan that would help to ensure that you can grow, as fast as you want within, the ecosystem. And then next thing is, I would say as a woman in tech, be a part of a community. There are a lot of communities today and programs like the one you're a part of right now. And because a lot of organizations respect and recognize the power of communities. So, for example, I can see that there are about 1, 2, 3, 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 15 plus 20, about 30 people on the call. I mean, less than 30 people on the call. So what it means is tomorrow, when I want to, hire a woman, a female developer or a female engineer, I'm going to reach out to Excellence to say, hey, I don't know if you have anybody within your network, that has this particular, because referral is also very strong. Recruiting is a very tough thing to do. I'm saying this from experience. To get an ideal, an average, an associate or a senior engineer, I will probably take any organization anywhere from 2 to 3 to 4 months. And so I want to be able to cut in, short down that timeline to about 1 month by calling Excellence and saying, Excellence, of the people that went through your program, is there any one of them that you can refer or recommend to me that has the right character, that has the right competence, and that hardworking and able to take the role? And they say, oh yes, I know this person that was in my cohort. Let me go talk to them. They will be able to join your organization. So you want to be able to be part of the community and actively participate and share updates, because also sometimes you realize that you share an update on what you've worked on, and so it's like, oh, if you have this competence, then it means that I can recommend you to this organization. They've reached out to me in the past. I know they have this. And I'd say the last thing that is important to grow in a successful career, would really just be soft skills and character. Character, goes a very long way to determining, how far you're going to grow. So, your competence and, your mentor, people or your community can get you the job. Character is ultimately important. I've had colleagues that we've had to put on performance improvement program where we're struggling with, okay, this person is really good, extremely good, but they don't have the right character. So we're going to have to fire them. They lie, they don't deliver, they have a terrible spirit. I don't mean spiritual, I mean just like attitude to work, really. They are not, they come late to work. And because there's a tendency to be cocky when you're good, because you believe, oh, I'm good. There's shortage of talent in the market, so therefore my organization should worship me. But you realize that that's not the case. You find out that when issues like that then come up, you then start to realize that there's a lot of dispensability. And there's still, some people organizations just need to be willing to pay more to be able to get the right kind of talent. So I'd say one very fundamental, just going over it again, fundamentally, one, you want to decide on which of the career, don't be a jack of all trades. Focus on one career pathway. This one. Two is grow the right competence. Learn, look for the right programs that help you learn, whether it's online, whether it's offline. Three is get the right mentorship opportunities. Four would be, being a part of a community that helps you to grow and expose you to a lot more opportunities. And five would then just be having the right character. That is important to then ensuring that you can continue to grow within the organizations you then end up joining. I'd say that as women, you guys are extremely lucky. So primarily because there's a shortage of women within technology ecosystem, there's a huge gap. People are trying, organizations, when you look at organizations, HR policies and mission globally, everybody's looking for diversity and inclusion. What does that mean? More women, more people living with disabilities. Simple. Everybody has it as a quota to be able to grow, the number of women they have, both, at the operational level as well as at leadership level. So I think it's a really exciting time that you guys are coming into technology and trying to either already in tech and trying to grow your career. But those 5 things I would say, remain very fundamental to growing a very successful career. Just to make sure that it's interactive, I would like if you guys can start to drop in questions into the chat panel, just so that I'm able to take these questions and possibly address some of the concerns or maybe ideas that you think that you need feedback around. And that is we pretty much just what I've explained pretty much speaks mostly to people who want to get a job or want to start a role within technology ecosystem. There's the other side of it, which not a lot of people would go to, but there's the technology entrepreneurship side of it, which I think that equally holds a lot of promise. I read every other day about opportunities for women in technology, opportunities for women entrepreneurs. In fact, I think this evening I still saw something by Access Bank launching some womenpreneur program. Every single global organization has recognized the power of women, the contribution they make to the economy and to the society. And then they definitely want to be able to leverage on that. Temitope, I've seen your question about data science. I'll get to it just in a bit. And so definitely, entrepreneurship is a different ballgame. I would say that it is extremely difficult. I can say that from where I stand. At every point, there's a new challenge and barrier, but it's an exciting journey. And it's also not for everybody. There are entrepreneurs and there are intrapreneurs. There are people who just like to work in an organization. There are people who want to take the risk, want to try something new, and also within that entrepreneurship space, you have the people who are the idea people and there are people who are the executionists. You need those type of people to achieve success. So yes, you have an idea, you can't, you can't probably drive it, to success by yourself. Some people are just great at executing and delivering fantastic value, across board. So you want to be able to look out, for partnership and think about partnering with people. But to start the entrepreneurship journey, I would say look out for an accelerator or an incubation program. If you're starting at the very beginning, look out for an incubation program. Incubation programs are programs that help to take your idea from idea stage to a product to a minimum viable product, which is in the market, which you can already have access to. While accelerators are you already have a business going on, but you want to then use technology to scale it. You can look for an accelerator to do that. But definitely from entrepreneurs, look for an accelerator or an incubator, depending on what stage you are. And also look out for mentors. But there's a lot of, and also join a community. So Excellence spoke about AGS Tribe. There are a lot of female communities. Different banks have their female banking programs. There's Wendy's, where you have a lot of resources being shared to support entrepreneurs as well. On Temitope's question about data science, I think data science is an emerging field. Within the organization I work, within Pronet, for example, we have a data science team, an artificial intelligence team. And I think that, right now, every enterprise organization has started to realize that being able to make data-backed decisions is extremely important to success and growth as a business. And so you see almost every bank has started a data analytics program. In fact, Sterling Bank has a specific training for data analytics for members of their team who want to cross into their data analytics team. So definitely, it's a growing and emerging field, and it's a place to be. Now, when you now move beyond analytics, which is the very beginning of data science, where you then start to use Python and R and all that, you then want to start to go into modeling, which has to do with machine learning and using machine learning to build out artificial intelligence to back your data, and which simply is you're using technology to build a model that can self-learn. So you see a lot of artificial intelligence already embedded in a lot of things we do. So you're filling a form. The form is already suggesting, autocorrect, for example, on your phone is an example of artificial intelligence. And you realize that over time, when you start to use a phone, by the time you've used it for about 2-3 months, the phone, the autocorrect starts to get better, because you then realize that, it then starts to know your typing pattern. In fact, in most cases, it can suggest to you the next word you will type if you have a particular aspect of, particular approach to typing. So I say data science, by all means, go for it. There are a lot of organizations that I think the very, one very good one I know, we have a data science program. I know there's a non-profit also called Data Science Nigeria. They have a program as well. There is Coven Labs. There are a number of organizations actually providing data science and AI focused learning. But it's an emerging field. There's a lot of prospects and job opportunities locally and globally. And so definitely something you want to look into from a career standpoint. Faith, I think your questions. One, what are the strategies that need to be put in place so as to have and retain women in tech? I think organizations need to have more gender-friendly policies. And let me give you an example. In Tech for Dev, I have two colleagues that are getting married. One is getting married, one is about to get married. And they were very worried about, my job, my husband is somewhere else. And the reality of the fact is, throughout COVID, we worked from home for months. And because I'm always traveling, they report directly into me. I haven't seen them in weeks. So I realized that we really don't need them to be in the office. As long as they have good connectivity, they can work from wherever they are. And so we said, change of policy. You want to get married, you want to move somewhere else, fine, please feel free to move. For people who have roles that are tied specifically to a location, so for example, in tech for dev, partnerships, if your partnerships for government, for example, you need to be in Abuja. You can look for another role within the organization, move into it, and let somebody else take that role or make a new recommendation. So I think organizations need to be more flexible. We are learning. We're also equally on a journey, and we're starting to understand the dynamics of the society and how things are, because you really don't want to lose good talent. So I would say, as a woman, the very first thing you want to do is be the best you can be. I mean, if these my colleagues were not fantastic, I'll be like, oh, you're getting married. Unfortunately, we're unable to continue right now. It's just an opportunity to quickly get them out of the system. But because they are doing amazing work, would there be mistakes? Yes, there will always be mistakes here and there. It's very typical. Even the very best of us make mistakes. But organizations need to be more flexible around that. So I say, you want to keep women talent, organizations need to be flexible around their policies, around marriage, around childbirth, around certain inconvenience leaves and all that. I think organizations need to be willing to do that to retain women in tech, because there is just a peculiarity that comes with being a woman, being responsible for the family, being responsible for a lot of things. Two would be, how do we bridge the wide gap between men and women? I think we need to have a multi-sectoral and stakeholder, multi-stakeholder, alliance to be able to bridge this gap. One, schools need to be willing to advocate to have more women, and when I mean schools, starting from secondary school, more women participate in STEM at that very basic level. Two, organizations need to be willing to, invest in open day sessions. Tech companies need to go out to schools, talk to women about the possibilities of being a woman in tech, being a cybersecurity engineer, being a, artificial intelligence engineer, and just, showcasing examples of women who have succeeded in those career pathways to encourage more women to understand that, I have other women like me there. So I'm not going to be, I'm not going to be, standing out in a crowd. I'm going to just blend in. I'm going to be exceptional, but have a support structure. Most important, other women who I'm able to relate to it. Two is other organizations. Both corporate and tech companies need to have, a lot more gender inclusivity and diversity policies that help to encourage, the inclusion of more women in technology. I would say that, one is, once you've taken care of having more women participate in technology through STEM, by just being involved in STEM at the very beginning, and then more organizations, and then also government policies. So that's why I say it's multi-stakeholder based. Government, private sector, non-profits, and development part. Everybody needs to play a role in ensuring that we can get more women to engage in tech, because like we know, women, contribute 3x more to the society when you look at our GDP contributions. So definitely having more women in tech is better for the society, it's better for the economy as a whole. I don't know if that answers the question, Faith, that you've asked. While we wait for other questions, I'm just going to go on to say that for each of the different areas that you want to, veer into, whether it's data science, cybersecurity, there are a lot of specialized. So you have options to either look for organizations that are solely focused on that career pathway, or organizations that are focused on a broad range of things, but are still able to deliver the kind of value for learning you need. But ultimately, also mentorship, especially being a woman, mentorship would always go a long way, because then you're able to cross a lot of hurdles. They are able to make a lot of referrals and introductions, as it were. But also, I would say that taking remote working a lot more seriously and looking at remote opportunities is also definitely a way to go for women, because that way you're earning more, because you're being paid in foreign exchange. Also, um, you're also having the opportunity to work at your own comfort, as long as you're able to deliver on a certain number of time. I've seen Blessing, I see your question about web development. Web development is broad. And when I say, I try to explain to people, um, there's web applications and there's website. Websites are just information. You just go there to go and read. Those blogs and all that, those are websites. Web applications are like your Facebook, actual applications. You can create a profile, sign up, carry out actions on them, and interact with the platform. Those are web applications. And when you then look at creating these assets, you have the role of the designer, but when it comes to the developer in itself, you can either choose to be a back-end application developer or a front-end developer. And then you then have the developers that are focused on open source technologies like WordPress, Joomla, Drupal, and all the likes. For you to be able to get a career in either of both, you also need to have some bit of background. I think for web developers, the very basic thing to learn is HTML and CSS, and there's a lot of web resources to be able to go into a career in HTML and CSS. From there, you can now start to move on. And I think one very useful resource will be W3 schools. I found it very early days when I myself was trying to start a career as a developer back when I was in university. I just put it in the chat panel. You can check W3 schools out. They provide you the most basic learning resources that you need to start a career in development. Is customer service really a lucrative career in technology? Everyone at least is taught home training in the family setting. Customer service is big. And why you would know customer service is big is India makes about 200 and something $billion of this just by providing customer service support to companies outside of India, in America, in Europe. There's a company in Nigeria called Tech Experts. I think you should check them out. They have they are always recruiting for technology support. And technology support in this case is customer service. You buy a product, you're on Facebook, or Microsoft Office is not working, you can call Microsoft. They are the ones that pick it, and provide you the necessary service you need. So it's definitely a big industry. So if you want to go into it, by all means, definitely, and you're correct. Cultural upbringing and upbringing definitely helps to provide a good background for that. Um, Excellence, I see your question to say if anyone decides to focus on digital marketing, this is a good and lucrative field. I, for one, do have a lot of experience in digital marketing, but I've seen a lot of people succeed, extremely succeed. Let me put extremely at digital marketing, both in terms of providing services for local companies here in Nigeria, or providing services for companies outside of Nigeria, because digital marketing has to do with exposing your brand, growing your customer base, reaching out to more people and all of that. So definitely, digital marketing would always be a very good field to look into, and to definitely invest time and resources in. How can you get remote job opportunities in Nigeria from diaspora? So I would say that I want to start with a lot of freelancing opportunities. So for example, you have freelancer.com, you have upworks.com. These ones are freelancing. Now, for example, indeed.com is a job site that allows you to get actual jobs online. And even if just carrying out a random Google search, for example, to say, let me try that, to say remote job openings for, okay, I'm not sharing my screen, sorry. Let me see if I can share my screen. Okay, share screen, start broadcast. Let me know when you can see my screen. Okay, can everyone see my screen? You can just type yes if you can.
Yes, yes, you can.
Okay, all right. So let me do this. So remote job openings for data scientist. Oh no, sorry. So even this is, can I work remotely as data scientist? 10 companies that hire for remote data scientists. So Google is your friend, life as you can get a lot of, can I work? You see, Quora is also a very good platform. So this, for example, tells you the 10 companies that are recruiting for data scientists. I don't know why my screen has refused to behave itself. Um, uh, for some reason, I can't see that. But let me just say, um, so you can see there's even, junior data science remote jobs. So there's nothing you wouldn't find on Google. You can see, in fact, Google already says work from home. You can even filter. Google has made life easy. You can see dates posted. So you see the two jobs here, data scientist, alpha site, data scientist, Sophie. So you click on this, apply on we work remotely. It was posted a month ago. If you click on apply, it takes you to, we work remotely.com, which then ultimately also, shows you the job opportunity. And this, of course, another site that you definitely can, use for access to job opportunities. So post a job and then you can see a lot of jobs. So there's a lot of remote job opening sites. Let me copy this and paste this inside the chat panel just so that everyone can see this. Okay, I see the message now about, sorry, I wasn't seeing this, about receiving payments in Nigeria. Now there's a lot of platforms that allow for ease of receiving payments today. I'm not very familiar. I know that there's TransferWise to start with. There's also, you can also open like a virtual wallet on a number of these payment platforms. And also again, like I've said, sometimes just even using Google as a learning tool to be able to learn, what the right so let me say top platforms for receiving payment as a remote worker. So this was the best site for remote jobs, remote.com. We work remotely. How do you get paid? Can pay by the company's payroll. What's the best to receive payments online? Pay simple. Find 62 top white, fine. So you have a lot of data actually, 16 best freelance payments methods in 2019, for example. This should provide some more insight. While you have a lot of junk content, you also have a lot of really great content on Google. So for example, this is PayPal, Payoneer, Cash App, QuickBooks Online, Google Pay, Skrill, Vimo, Doha, Authorize, Zero, TransferWise. This is one I spoke about. We use this as a company to receive payments from our international clients. And so you actually do have a lot of resources that allows you um, to be able to, successfully, receive this. Blessing says, what is skill required as a web developer? As a web developer, depending again on the stack, whether it's a front end or back end, there's a lot of, I would mention a few, but HTML and CSS are the very basic ones. And then, going on from there, you then want to be able to either decide whether you're, going front end or back end, and that would require, you learning either React or Java, the different, um, the different areas that you're focusing on will determine what your, skill set, what the skill set to learn should be ultimately. I don't know if there are any more questions at this time, or people have. Please feel free to unmute yourself, um, and ask questions.
Wow, this is fantastic. So, sir, please want to quickly ask, how can they get on board? If they want to get on board the program, we talked about 25 million people over the next 10 years. So, if they
Um,
intend to get on any program.
so I would say that you should go to Women Techstars, or you just simply follow Tech for Dev on Instagram. For this year, for example, we've closed out on our fellowship program. However, you have the boot camp and the master classes still ongoing. They are done on a monthly and bi-monthly basis. I know applications for the master classes are for people who are already in tech, who want to just build certain competence around a specific topic. While the boot camps are, 2 weeks introduction. So you want to start, for example, I recommend that the boot camp is a very good way to start. 2 weeks intensive class and learning that helps you to decide. So you can decide, I'm going to take the boot camps back to back. I'm going to do data science this month. I'm going to do cybersecurity next month, to determine which of them are most interested and I want to focus on. Those are very short courses you can take. So if you follow Tech for Dev on Instagram or on Facebook, we're no longer on Twitter, courtesy of the ban. Um, you will definitely be sure to get information on what the best, when the new programs are on and what the opportunities are, across board, across all our programs. So I'd say that would be following our social media handles would be the very best way to get feedback around that. Your mute, excellence.
Okay, yeah. As someone is asking about elaboration on UI UX, thank you very much for that. System.
Okay, Dominica, thanks a lot for the question. UI UX, in Nigeria, they are one. Most companies will treat them as one. Most times, however, user interface design is very different from user experience. User experience design starts from research, which is, people even just finding out, and it's an emerging field. For one, for example, I know that Facebook in Nigeria has recently created a UX research team. They are hiring about 9 people. I know someone on that team who used to be with Tech for Dev before he moved on to join Facebook. So there's a lot of opportunity when it comes to user. In fact, within technology, UI UX designers and practitioners, I would say are the rarest to find. If you look at the very common front end, back end, or UI design. So the UI designers, for example, the UI designers are the ones that create the interface, what the interface will look like. They are the ones that create what that experience looks like. Now, the UI designers are the ones that do that. The UX experience and the designers and researchers are the ones that determine. They are the ones that do the questionnaire. So, for example, I want to build an app for ordering food. They will interview 20, 30, 2,000 people and say, if you were to have an app for ordering food, how should it work? But because in Nigeria we really don't pay attention to a lot of those details, you find out that you have an idea, you want to build something, you go straight to designing and implementing. Ideally, there should be a research process that helps to validate that thought process around what you're trying to build before you then go on to build that. And that's what UX researchers will do. But UI UX, Nigeria is lumped into one. So you do the research and then you also design interfaces, you create the wireframes and create the eventual design in terms of what the experience will look like. Now, when you create the design, the client is then able to appreciate what the eventual product will be, make recommendations, adjustments, and then that's what the front-end developers will then eventually convert and then start to build up on. I don't know if that answers the question, Dominica.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Do we have any other questions? A lot of people in the groups are complaining about network, so we'll just make available this weekly to them. I'm able to join because of network. So, does any other person have questions? Okay, yeah, we do. Okay, I guess no other questions. Thank you very, very much, sir. We really
Thank
appreciate
you
you
very
coming
much.
tonight. We really, really appreciate you. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you.
Thank you very much for inviting me. And to everyone, thanks for taking our time to join the session. Um, Please feel free to, DM us, reach out to us, reach out to Excellence to get our contact details. If you ever, are looking for an opportunity in tech, Prunedge, we're constantly hiring people. I'm going to drop our website. You can always check our careers page. If you see a role that you love to take, you want to come intern, reach out to, Excellence. She can always write a recommendation and a referral for you, and we'll then take that up and ensure that you at least get an interview. So
Thank
thank
you
you
very
very much
much.
once again, and I look forward to seeing you guys all shining within the ecosystem.
Thank you
Thanks and
very
have a great evening.
much. Thank you
All
so
right,
much, sir.
thank you.
God bless you, sir.
Yeah,
Really appreciate it. Thank you,
thank
sir.
you. Yeah, cheers. Yeah,
Thank you so much.
thank you. Yeah, bye. Have a great evening. Thanks.
Okay, sir. Bye. Hello, ladies. Good evening. So you can unmute. How's the session?
It was wonderful.
Fine, fine, fine.
Okay.
It was
Like, let's
great.
go to questions and answers. Hope you guys took note of the
It was
links that we
great.
shared.
Fine.
Yes, ma, we
Hope you
did.
took
We
note of
took
the
of the
link.
link. Yes. Yes, ma.
Um, Many people are talking. Who is there? Dominica, I think your mic, I'm getting feedback. Okay. So, yeah. So, thank you all for coming on board. I think the issue we had was with a lot of people had network issue